Hello guys. Live stream begin. Start coding. We are going to code Wolfram language. So this is my coding session. This is what I'm gonna code. Graphics programming in Wolfram language. Now, if you don't know what is Wolfram language, watch yesterday's live stream. Okay, there's introduction. And today, I'm just gonna work on my stuff. And for anyone here, you can ask me questions, post questions in the chat, or you can just watch me code. Okay, if you're watching this offline, play at 1.5 speed. So it's boring. Probably this video is not what you want. Okay, so I'm just gonna work on my website. Okay, see video check, audio check. Okay, so this, there's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of things to do. One thing interesting is that today, hello, Colonial P9. I'm good, thank you. Today with AI going on, AI is becoming amazing. AI can generate videos, but also write code or answer any of your questions. So AI is amazing. And basically, AI made tutorials obsolete. Hello, Wavy Line. Happy Friday. Oh, yeah, today is Friday. Maybe I should get a drink, should I? But I've been, this code I've been wanting to finish for like 2 weeks. So I really need to finish this code. The code works, it works, but I need to make it like condensed and exemplary, so that people can use this snippet of code to generate the reflections of any curve with, very concise code. Actually, the current code actually works well. But I want it to be more kind of more refined. So really, I want to work on my code. But, with AI today, it makes tutorials all obsolete. Let me ramble a bit. If I continue the whole video rambling, that'll be fine. Let the live stream do whatever. So today with AI, it basically makes tutorials obsolete. At least for the beginners, okay? It makes any introductory programming language tutorial material obsolete. The keyword is introductory, because so AI, you can, like, if you want to learn Python, if you want to learn JavaScript, let me showcase my tutorials if you guys have not seen. So xah.info, my website. Okay, so you go down. There's lots of programming language tutorials. Emac, Lisp, fantastic and powerful, 1,000 pages. JavaScript in depth, that's 1,000 pages. HTML, CSS, SVG, how to write a SVG clock. There it is. That's about 50 lines of code in JavaScript. So these are beginning tutorials. Actually, let's ask AI to write a JavaScript code. Let's see how it does. That would be interesting. I think it may actually write shorter code than what I have here. So, so I got lots of tutorials, right? So if you guys want to see that, remind me, okay? Ask AI to write a tutorial for creating a clock in JavaScript and using SVG. You see, very interesting, because I am using SVG. SVG is the scalable vector graphics technology, but an alternative is using Canvas. Okay, if you guys don't know Canvas, there is the Canvas idiot Canvas, which is pixel based, while SVG is like XML element based. So SVG is actually everything you draw is actually a thing, like a circle, a line, or whatever. While canvas is the C++ idiots, pixels. You just you just paint pixels. Like that's good for gaming, but idiotic technology. And Apple made it because the Apple pushed it because they want iPhone to have games and replace the Flash back in about 15 years ago, 2007, around there. Steve Jobs. So anyway, so I digressing all over. So you got SVG. So it would be interesting if you ask AI to write a clock in JavaScript for the web and see what choice it makes, whether it's gonna use SVG or Canvas or even using the 3D that web GL. That's another technology, but that's mainly for three-dimensional graphics. Do you guys know WebGL? Okay, so that WebGL is a technology, but there is a library for WebGL. So WebGL is a technology, but there's a library called since like 10 years ago. Okay. Anyway, WebGL allows you to draw 3D graphics like a game engine in browser, okay, with JavaScript in browser. So it would be interesting to see what AI decide to use, SVG or Canvas. Probably Canvas, I would guess. Maybe SVG. Well, so I don't know. But also interesting to look at the code, what the code AI is actually do. So actually, let's ask AI. Okay, I started to ramble, but that's okay. So let's create a new question and write a JavaScript code for a clock. Let's say analog clock with second hand. Okay, let's add extra. Magnify. By the way, you see this interesting phenomenon, you see, on the web technology, idiocy of the Zoomer generation, the extreme idiots. You see this. I don't know if you guys can see it on my screen, but you see it's flashing. You see this occurs on Twitter or some other website. You see the JavaScript framework, they have a situation where like when your window is certain size, like they stuck in between something, so they keep flashing. Can you see that? Oh, it still happens if you shrink it, you see? So this happens when you change font size. So let me change font size again. Wait. Okay, it's still, wait. Okay, so wait, you see? If I scroll down, wait, so when the font size is 150, it has this flash thing. Can you guys see it? So shrink, you see font size 140. Now magnify, font size 150. You see that flash? Let's magnify again. Then it stops, you see? Fucking incredible idiocy of the JavaScript, basically the Zoomer generation and the late millennium beginning there, the JavaScript idiots. Their framework, like they don't know nothing. Anyway, so that's an interesting phenomenon. Okay, let me show it again. It's a good thing. You see, it doesn't happen now. You see, now it doesn't happen. So now you cannot reproduce it. So it sometimes happen. Things like it flashes. Very weird. I'm glad I captured this. It happened on my live stream. So there's like proof. Anyway, so let's ask this AI this question. Write the JavaScript code for a analog clock with second hand to draw. Let's make it precise, okay? Actually, we don't need to be, but let me just do that JavaScript because I want to do this one shot correctly, right? Just to be sure, right? A JavaScript code to draw an analog clock with second hand. Okay, go down, do it. Okay, ask AI Quark. So we didn't say what SVG or CSS. Wow, it's using CSS. It does not even use SVG. Fascinating. Fascinating. Can it be done? Yes. Yeah, obviously. Oh, wow. It's even better because, yes, it's even better using, does not like totally skip SVG or Canvas. It just use CSS, which is a hack because in order to draw the second hand and so on, you need to like do a rotation. You need to do this transform kind of thing. So anyway, let's check if the code works. Okay, actually we are digressing. So we'll go back to that topic. Okay, the SVG clock. But meanwhile, let me tell you guys, let's go back to what we were saying. So I got lots of tutorials. That's what I was saying. Okay, let's go back and regroup. So this is today's talk show. Is that correct? Yes, we talked about SVG clock. Yes. Section, let's go to the section, search for that, and let's put the link here, make a link. And we talked about SVG clock. Actually, I was talking about my website tutorials for SVG and for lots of other things. Okay, programming tutorials, xali.info. Okay, so I was talking about my programming tutorials. Okay. So actually, so I was saying that AI today basically makes all beginner tutorials obsolete. Python, Perl, Java, Golang, because AI can generate it. However, the issue with AI generated tutorial is that it's like just kind of superficial. Actually, it can be quite accurate, but so how do you describe the situation? Like today, AI can really answer even difficult questions about programming language because I've asked tons of questions to AI in the past 2 years, like programming language, like esoteric questions. So AI knows, okay, and it can generate tutorials on the fly. In fact, I've done that in my live stream. Like you can just ask it, write a beginner's tutorial of JavaScript, or write a just tell it to write a JavaScript tutorial. Okay, let's go back here. Because we want to do that. Okay, so AI can write a lot of tutorials, right? Hold on a second. So yeah, so let's just copy the URL, generated the URL, and let's copy the question there. Merge these two, and let's copy the code. Actually, this JavaScript, paste it there. Wait, this is not JavaScript code. This is HTML code. Yeah, so it actually it embeds the you see all the styles for clock. You see, okay, so where's the JavaScript code? What? It does not even use JavaScript code. Wait, so is there an update? Holy shit! Wow, so there's not even JavaScript code. It's using animation. Is that right? Oh, holy shit. Let's see what it does actually. Okay. paste, so there's HTML, paste it. Yeah, so there's HTML. Now go to the top and remove that. And actually, so let's pop it out. Actually, put it back. Actually, make a new file. Let's say Guok AI clock.html. Okay, and copy it so that we make a link. Okay, so we got a problem with the link because the file name contains spaces. So now let's change the file name so it does not contain spaces. Press. That's done. And that command is shown on the pink window. Xah Ep781 rename space to low line. Fantastic. Okay. So now open that, copy it, close, and paste it. New file path, delete that, make it a link, and make it a list. Okay, now remove this. So now we can open that and show in browser. Let's see. Fascinating, beautiful, amazing. A little error, but on the whole, is it correct? Yes. Now, right now it's California time, 4 o'clock p.m. and 32 seconds. Stupid Microsoft. So let me show you. So clock, open Microsoft clock. So you can see right now it's 4 o'clock 32 seconds in the afternoon, San Francisco time. Okay, correct. 4:30. There's little errors, this offset, but we can fix it. But you see, another thing to notice is that the second hand, it emulates real life clocks in real life, where when the hand moves, there's a little bit shaking motion. Can you guys see that? It's fascinating. How do you actually? Well, so it so it's so correct. In fact, it did this. So that in order to do that, it must be like more complicated code. So so here is a script. So you can see. You see, so there is actually JavaScript, right? So here's a script. Let's hold on before we change anything. Let me rename this file so that it's got a date. Okay, and let's rename. Let's put Guok AI by Guok AI and put today's date. Okay, so that when we view this file, let's say 10 years from today, it makes sense. Now open it, rename the title that, okay? Search fail H1, okay, that's fine. So now we got that. Okay, open that, close that, back here, close that, okay? So now let's try to fix that. Okay, we're getting into JavaScript coding. Well, but let me finish my topics first, okay? So I was talking before, we were talking about, WebGL. So there's WebGL. So hold on a second. WebGL we mentioned because we mentioned whether AI is gonna use WebGL or is it gonna use SVG or the canvas? Okay, so there is SVG, there is canvas intro, and canvas versus SVG. Let's open that. I don't like canvas. Okay, canvas is shit. Canvas is pixel-based technology. I hate pixel-based technology. So here's my basic links tutorial. Okay, showing browser. So that's the things we talked about today. But I want to say that. So we were talking about how AI is replacing or basic tutorials, and you can ask it questions interactively. So it's like you have almost a professional professor that teach you a personal, professor. That's just amazing. Not just teach you coding. You can ask any questions about physics, chemistry, or mathematics, or anything, or even history. So it's and the quality of AI, the answer it gave is most of the time is equivalent to a professor. Depending on, in real life, professors, some are not so good, some are good, but some are not good teachers. Like some professors are good lecturer, or teachers, some are not. But also, they don't, like some of them, they don't have the patience. Like they don't give a fuck about you. Like you ask question, they just like brush it off. They don't really pay attention. But with AI, you got, AI can answer questions, any questions tirelessly. Like you can ask it 100 questions or about the same thing. Even if you don't understand, it will just keep explaining. So AI is truly amazing. So anyway, I was saying that it's replacing basic tutorials. But it's not exactly the same as a good human written tutorial. You see, another distinction you need to make is that you cannot simply compare AI written tutorial with human written tutorial, like asking which is better, because there's a details, just like professor. Because when you ask, you need to ask, because among the tutorials of programming language written by human animals, they are good and they are bad ones, just like books. Also books, okay, before internet, there's books, but some good books are really good books. They became classic in the field. Some other books are just written by, someone who may be trying to make money, bad books, okay, or misleading books, or filled with errors, or whoever wrote it, he may be knowledgeable about the subject, but he lacks writing skill, or he is in a hurry, in his career, he didn't pay much attention. He just want, this book done, and he want to move on. So there are a lot of reasons. There are bad books, okay, bad books and good books. Same thing with programming language tutorials. Since the internet, there are good ones. There's bad ones. Today, for example, there's a lot like CEO, like made by India, basically Indian idiots in India. Okay, they don't, they there's like tons of answering questions, programming tutorial, especially Python, especially like for popular language. Like, how do you do this in Python? What's the difference between this and Turbo? Like, if you ask that, you'll see tons of website, mostly written by this Indian. They get like few cents an hour to write that, to copy and paste whatever. So in the past like 10-15 years, okay, a lot of these tutorials are written by low quality, writers, and a lot of copy paste, So for tutorials, there are good ones, there are bad ones, even written by human. So when you ask the question, is AI generated tutorials for programming languages, are they better or are they worse than human animal ones? You need to take consider, like you need to say, on average, because compared to a great one written by a human animal such as me, some of mine, actually AI is quite comparable, but AI, the tutorials generated by AI, even good ones, they don't have a spirit. They don't have like a particular view or particular kind of human touch. like in my tutorial, you can kind of, if you read my tutorial after a while, you'll see there's certain, you can tell, this is probably written by this guy Xah, Xah Lee, because there's certain style, there's certain, like, there's a certain spirit, like I want to tell you about programming language, like the way I think about programming languages. But AI generated tutorial, you don't have that. It is like perfect, even though it is written in perfectly, the writing style, the logical, the organization, the grammar is all perfect, and it's all technically correct. You could, AI usually do that, but then it's some, it lacks the kind of the human bias and stuff. Okay, so that's one of the difference between AI generated programming language tutorial versus a human one, even good ones. Okay, but that's not the whole story, because AI, you see, if you want it to have a style or spirit, you have to ask. You can actually ask, write a tutorial of JavaScript in the style of Xah Lee. Actually, you can ask it, it'll do so. Very funny. Or in the style of Donald Knuth, a famous, some famous computer scientist, it will actually do that. So going back to, it's not true to say that AI generated stuff lacks humanity. It is actually not true. Because this is an important question, because when AI generated some images, for example, today, there's huge amount of, like you guys probably know, right? If you go to, Twitter, you'll see huge amount of AI generated, like this, this is verging on girls. Okay. So where is the, yeah, here is, like, this is like a horror movie, but generated by AI.
3 years after a string of brutal, unsolved murders of local co-eds with impossibly
Amazing.
fat milkers, the women of Delta Delta D will be headed to the new space station as part of NASA's Project Bust.
It's scary.
Can you guys see if I make it wait, what? Okay, I probably disrupted you guys' enjoyment. Sorry.
3 years after a
It's
string
just
of brutal,
here.
unsolved murders of local co-eds with impossibly fat milkers, the women of Delta Delta D will be headed to the new space station as part of NASA's Project Bust.
It's scary. The titty killer just disappeared. We're going to be 250 miles up. The only person watching us get changed is going to be a 60-year-old man at Cape Sinago. I heard in space your boots actually get bigger.
Why exactly are they sending a shuttle full of sorority girls to space?
Son, the only thing bigger than the NASA budget after this is going to be the strain on those girls' sweaters.
This is like the plot of a movie written by a 12-year-old boy.
This is the first time I've felt safe since the titty killer.
You don't think it's him, do you?
Who else would go all the way to space?
Now listen, sweetheart. The boys down here tell me you're flat as a board. If that's right, you're basically invisible to them. You might be our only hope.
That's funny. That's so funny. Now you guys can go check it out. Okay, this thing created by AI is called
After this is going to be the strain on those girls' sweaters.
It's a title. Let's wait for the title.
Unsolved murders of local co-eds with impossibly
TT Killer 50G. That actually emulates the style of movie titles, So it's amazing, AI. And you look at today, you look at the person generated by AI, the girls or person, whatever person. It's you cannot tell it's fake. There's no way to tell. There's like this. You look at their face, everything is perfect. Like for almost no way. Okay, I mean technically maybe there's some glitches here and there, but basically there's no way to tell it's generated by AI. So what I'm saying, but people have been saying, for example, today we have AI generated singers. Like there's a word for it. Like some people do live stream, but using AI to do live stream. Some people say AI generated person lacks kind of a soul, and I think that's basically just false. It's simply not true. And this touches on the question of what is a soul? Like what does intelligence actually means? So that's another very interesting question. Okay, now getting back to what I wanted to say in the beginning is that, you see, I was saying that AI can write tutorials, and the difference between AI generated tutorials and human written ones. And what is my point? Actually, I don't have a point. After going through this, so what is the difference between AI generated programming language tutorials and the one written by human? I mean, is there essential difference? Is there a difference? Is there certain characteristics that you can tell? You can like always just separate them? Actually, I don't think so. Actually, I don't think so. But yeah, so that's a very interesting question. Yeah. So actually, since I am talking about this and thinking about it now, I don't think there's actual any essential difference. There is no no essential difference that necessarily separate them apart. Just like I think the images, photos, or movies generated by AI. So, in other words, the answer is analogous to what's the difference between let's say, short movie of 1 minute generated by AI or actual actors or people on the street. I don't think there's a difference. Okay. So this is this answer is actually very critical. This answer is actually fundamental. That there is no difference. There's no essential difference, like whatsoever, between AI generated things and human created things. Now that includes videos or images, like photos of people, and includes tutorials written by programming languages written by people. And I think that also includes poetry. That also includes yeah, I think it just includes about anything. There is no essential difference. There's no characteristic difference between AI created things and human created ones. So that is my opinion. Okay. And that I think this is this is one of the most critical opinion in the AI, the AI, the debate about whether AI will have intelligence like humans or a soul. Anyway, so I don't think there's a difference. So that means, but so does that mean, so what I originally want to say is that when you read a tutorial, right, AI kind of made programming language tutorials obsolete. But I was gonna say that, well, not exactly, because human written ones, there is still something. But now I changed my mind. There's nothing. So yeah, so that's amazing that, for example, like even my tutorials, some of them I'm fairly proud of. Okay, so my Wolfram language tutorial, my JavaScript, my Emac Lisp, okay, it's almost unique, like 600 pages on Emac Lisp, because you cannot find it anywhere. There's no similar books. Okay, and also my JavaScript in-depth tutorial, I'm most proud of because they are the most in-depth. So some of my tutorials I'm fairly proud of. Okay, Wolfram, Emac Lisp, for different reasons. Wolfram language. Okay, let me just like elaborate on this. Okay, so I'm pretty proud of my Wolfram language tutorial. Why? Because it is kind of a unique and practical approach where you treat Wolfram language as a programming language, like all the other programming language, from the industrial coders, people who code the web, web dev, from JavaScript coders, or from PowerShell, the Windows shell or Bash, or from Perl, Python, Python people, or not Python people, and Golang, like more low level, or Java, like more compile language people. So these are kind of industrial programming languages. So usually they don't have any idea. They are not in touch with Wolfram language or any programming language that does mathematics, such as MATLAB, or even symbolic ones like Maple or Maxima, like 20 years ago. So these people don't know about so-called computer algebra systems. And Wolfram language is just, by now, it's beyond just computer algebra. It's like lots of things, AI and stuff. So I'm proud of my Wolfram language tutorial is because, first of all, there are not many. Okay, so if you look for Wolfram language tutorials out there are a few books, but none actually. There's not, almost like practically zero. There are maybe 3 or 4. Like there may be one book in English language every 4 years. Something like that, and they become obsolete, of course, because Wolfram language, just like other programming languages, it has new versions. So anyway, so the programming language tutorial on Wolfram language is almost non-existent, very rare. Okay, but however, there's a Wolfram research website. There, their documentation and tutorial, there's like literally, last time I counted, it's like I think it's over a few million pages. Okay, not just 1 million, because anyway, it takes too long to talk about. I'm pretty sure they got over a few million pages on their website, the Wolfram research. So they are huge, and they also have a practical Wolfram language. Okay, you search for Wolfram language tutorial, the first thing you will find is their page. Okay, so I mean, they got two prominent ones. Is who wrote this one? Total Data Science, Learning Wolfram from Zero. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so God, I'm digressing all over. Is anyone find this interesting? I'm like digressing all over. Okay, not many people watching. So Wolfram language tutorial. The prominent ones is that first of all, there's one written by Stephen Wolfram. Okay, it's online, free. Okay, so you just go there. Where is it? There's a link in print and free on the web. Okay, so it's called I wrote a book by Stephen Wolfram. Let's turn on JavaScript. Okay, Stephen Wolfram, An Elementary Introduction to the Wolfram Language. Okay, now this book is great, but it's not really focused on programmers. Like if you came from, if you came from, it's not really for hardcore programmers. That's what I want to say. Okay, like if you really came from hardcore programmers, your idea of programming language is variables, functions, references, maybe, and list data structures, then this book is not like that. It's like it teaches people without programming language background, including technical people. For example, there's a lot very technical young people that do video processing or voice processing or editing, or 3D modeling, but they are not programmers. Okay, but they do all this technical programming stuff. I mean, they are not programmers, but they do lots of very technical computer stuff. So it's kind of for those people. But so if you came from Java or C++ or Python, this book is like does not fit. Okay, it doesn't really teach you to use Wolfram language in a way like a real programming language. Okay, that is kind of my review of this book. It's not too long, this book. So anyway, this is for like general introduction, like for technical people to Wolfram language. You can after reading this book, you can learn to use it, like ask it, do all sort of things. But you might begin to code it, but it's not suitable. Okay, you don't know much about it. And another tutorial for programmers. Okay, if you just search for Wolfram language tutorials for programmers, there is one again from official Wolfram research website. It's called Fast Introduction for Programmers, the Wolfram language. Okay, spend a few minutes with this tutorial to get up to speed with the foundations of Wolfram language. Okay, so what? Oh God, wait, is this the one I'm looking for? Yes. What? Video? Yeah. So this tutorial, this is for programmers, but in my opinion, it's I don't, I think it's just basics. Okay. So for each chapter, they also have a video version. Like video version is only 4 minutes. Okay. So anyway, so you can try this tutorial. So I think my tutorial is great because I go in depth into strings, regular expressions, number arithmetics, number, and Boolean and list data types, data structure, and stuff like that. Okay, that's why that is why the aspects of what I like. I'm proud of my tutorial for Wolfram language. Okay. Oh my God, I'm going over this. So why do I think my Emacs tutorial is great? Because basically it's unique. I mean, basically because there is no But actually, Wolfram, so there is no, if you want to learn Emacs Lisp, not other Lisp, but Emacs Lisp, you will not find many. Like today, I'm not sure. I mean, there might be one resource, one book, or maybe one. There's no comprehension. Basically there's none. Okay, except my book. Okay, Emacs Lisp teaches you Emacs Lisp and in depth fairly, because there are some 800 pages just for Lisp, not counting Emacs. Okay, this is Emacs tutorial, Emacs init tutorial, Emacs keys tutorial. Then there's Emacs Lisp basics on strings, on numbers, boolean, variable, conditional, loop, and so on. Okay, and then you have another chapter on the Emacs Lisp, which is more focused on features of Emacs Lisp that does not exist in other programming languages, such as a buffer or editing text or move cursor or search text, because other programming languages are not a text editor, but Emacs is. So you can move cursor, you can search text, you can mark region, you can copy part of the region or text, you can create a new buffer string, or you can convert part of buffer to a string, or vice versa. You can process each line of a buffer, and then you can also ask user a question, and like how old are you, ask user for input. You can switch buffer, you can create new buffer, you can save file, read, save. Okay, so you can all these things. You can call a shell command, and okay. So this buffer and cursor position, they are not available in most other programming languages because they are not text editors. So these things are unique to Emacs Lisp programming language. Okay. So anyway, back to my Emacs Lisp tutorial, I'm proud of it because it is fairly unique, and it's also, I spent like basically over 10 years writing it. I still update it every day. So that's great. And my Emacs tutorial, I think, is also great. There are a lot Emacs tutorials out there, okay? But mine is like the most comprehensive, the most number of pages. Like together Emacs and Emacs Lisp, I think I have over 1,000 pages. Okay, so yeah, together Emacs and Emacs Lisp, I have over 1,000 pages tutorials on them. Okay, so my Emacs Lisp tutorial and Wolfram language, they are kind of unique. You will not find in-depth tutorials about these two languages much elsewhere. Okay, and I'm proud of my JavaScript tutorial. By the way, you see this funky thing because the font is huge. Okay, now you see it. Okay, I'm proud of my JavaScript tutorial. It is because it's actually the most in-depth. It's far more in-depth, like to the hilt. It's far more in-depth even my Emacs Lisp and my Wolfram language tutorial, because JavaScript kind of far more in-depth and more technical, because I've read all the several editions of the JavaScript specification. And JavaScript is also extremely complex, more complex than Wolfram or Emacs Lisp. Lots of words package, okay, JavaScript. So that's why I'm proud of my JavaScript in-depth tutorial, because it is one of the most in-depth, in fact, compared to all possible out there, Mozilla or whatever JavaScript books you've seen. I would consider mine is one of the best, like top 3. Okay, if you can pick the best JavaScript books in the world, pick 3 of them. I would say mine is among them. in my own opinion, it's the best, of course, because I prefer my own style. Okay, so that is why I'm proud of that one. Now, my Golang tutorial is pretty basic. It's just for beginners, okay? But I'm also pretty proud of this one because it's written in a way I believe is the most logical and also in my style. What does my style means? Xah style means no nonsense, no storytelling. Like, hi guys, I have experience from C++, and in C++ it's done that way. Golang doesn't have that, and also because of that language, there's like talking. Oh, today's a nice day. One time I heard a story from a sage. He says a function is something, and I think function is this or that. Fucking idiots. I hate storytellings. Like, hi guys, if you want to download, learn Go, you have to go to this place to download a package, then click this to install, and you are good to go. And it's a beautiful day, so let's learn it. Golang is the most powerful, like the verbiage, the fucking idiots. Hand holding, like they want to tell you a story, like, a lot of tutorials are like that. Let me show you guys one of them. Xali.info. So let me answer your question in a second, okay? Okay, JavaScript book review 2023. There's one of the most idiotic book on JavaScript, okay? Now, that is this, okay, eloquent JavaScript. This is a storytelling style. Let me read a minute or two to show you what I mean. Okay, now this is a good book, but it's this one, Eloquent JavaScript, is by Marich Haverbeck. He's a JavaScript expert. Okay, Eloquent JavaScript, the book. This book is for beginners, kind of for people like never programmed before, that class of people. Okay, so if you are not familiar with programming at all, then this book is for you. Okay, so that is my judgment. However, personally, I don't like this book because and this is why I'm talking about it right now, because it's in a heavy storytelling style. Okay, so let's try let's read some chapter. Let's go functions. Okay, first of all, a quote. Functions. People think that computer science is the art of geniuses, but the actual reality is the opposite. Just many people doing things that build on each other like a wall of mini stones. Donald Knuth. Okay, so it used to be a thing where you begin a chapter by a quote. Okay, in this case, he used Donald Knuth. He's a famous computer scientist. Okay, then he insert a diagram of bees and ferns. What's the relevance of this? I'm not sure. And what is the relevance of this quote? Well, it's kind of like gives you, makes you happy. What is the relevance of the quote, which is like few hundred words of this Donald Knuth in this chapter of functions? What is the purpose of that quote? The purpose of that quote is kind of like make you feel comfortable, make you feel like put your mindset in a computer science. Oh, there's this interesting story by Donald Knuth. So in this chapter, we're gonna start to learn something about functions. Oh, heartwarming, warms your heart, does it? Oh, it's not created by geniuses. So if you are an idiot, that's it's good. That's good. This is a book for you. Fucking fuck. I despise this storytelling style. Okay. Now I'm not saying I'm against beginners or against people who are not geniuses. You know, they can all learn, but you don't need this unnecessary. I mean, well, depending on the taste, you know, some people enjoy, you know, reading you prepare a cup of coffee, you sit under a tree, you start to read programming, you know, books like enjoy the weather. Maybe that's for you, okay? But what I'm saying is that this is not for me. Okay, this is idiot storytelling style. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's continue one more. So it says, let's get to the content. Functions are one of the most central tools in JavaScript programming. The concept of wrapping a piece of program in a value has many uses. It gives us a way to structure larger programs, to reduce repetition, to associate names with subprograms, and to isolate these subprograms for each other. Okay, blah, 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 verbiage. Okay, I don't like that style. Okay, but otherwise, so that's my introduction to this book. Okay, so, and what I'm saying is this storytelling style, which I do not do. So what is the style of my tutorial? Code, concise, to the point, correct. Okay, I want to express something and easy understandable, the most easy to understand. Okay, so for example, you can check out JavaScript in depth. This tutorial is written in the most simple way you can understand. There's no abstruse jargons. There's no use jargons for the jargon's sake. There's no abuse of jargons to make you think this is written by a genius, like the Python fuckheads. Python people do that. When you read the Python documentation, full of jargons, unnecessarily so. And also the Haskell programming language, like full of computer science jargons, unnecessarily so. That's their style. Okay, so my style, there's no, if there's a jargon, you do not need it. It's not used. Okay, simple way to understand. Everyone can understand. Standalone code examples for every concept, every page. There's a standalone, like every, like copy, like that you can run. No extraneous jargon, no design patterns, no fad. Okay, like what the fuck is design patterns? Oh, design patterns is a practice in programming industry. Something people think they are solution to everything. That's what design patterns are. There's a book, by the way. There's a book that's heavily using the design patterns thing. Okay, I digressed to nowhere. I digress. This book. Professional JavaScript for Web Developers by Nicholas C. Zakas. He's the head of web engineering at Yahoo for like 5 or 10 years back in 2010. But when you read this book, everything is explained in terms of like patterns, like, okay, patterns, okay. This is some pattern, like the design pattern thing. That's a code. Like everything. This book is trying to teach you in JavaScript. It's like he explained it in terms of some design pattern thing. Okay, fucking idiot, complete idiot, I would say. But he's a great coder. Otherwise he wouldn't. I'm pretty sure. There's no doubt he knows JavaScript, but it's just like the thinking or the style of tutorial is like fucked up. Patterns, like the way you see the language, everything you see it is like as like pattern like thing. Okay, the fucking idiot. Oh, these are OOP people, object oriented people. Okay, so actually I digressed all over. Each of my digression became almost an hour digression. So this video is gonna last, it'll end in 10 hours. Okay. So I was talking about it's I was talking about the tutorial writing styles. Okay, so my tutorial style is most simple way, written in the most simple way you can understand. Standalone code examples for every concept, written in a code style. No ninja, no zen, no joke, no telling a story, no make you comfortable by citing GNUs that programming languages are not geniuses. Like here. Okay, so like extraneous quote and extraneous insert of a diagram. What does this diagram mean? Like bees and ferns. Does it help you understand functions in JavaScript? Does it? I don't think so. But make you kind of happy. Okay, that's extraneous, like storytelling. Ninja and Zen's fuck. Okay, you will not find one such sentence in any of my programming language tutorials. Okay, in JavaScript, in Golang, in PowerShell, in Python, in Perl, Ruby, those are not good, by the way, but I haven't get to those yet. In Emacs, this in Wolfram, you will not find a single line of this verbiage in my tutorial. Okay, next, no extraneous jargons. Okay, no design patterns, no fad. I already covered that. Next, no framework, no library, pure standard JavaScript that runs in browser. Okay, now this is particular for JavaScript for my tutorial, because JavaScript, usually involves framework, today. And also for my JavaScript tutorial, it is in depth, okay, based on the JavaScript language specification for correctness. Okay, so back to so we digressed over. So what back to I was talking about why am I proud of some of my tutorials, and for what reason. Okay, that is the thing I'm talking about. Close that. Showing browser. Okay, let's write it down. So let's make it like, let's create a table of contents of what we were talking about today. So we digressed over. So we were just talking about why I am proud of some of my programming language tutorials and the specific reasons for each. Okay, that is what we are talking about in the past 20 minutes. Okay, now let me go back to the JavaScript. Let me go back to this page. This is the index of my programming language tutorials. Okay, so make a link. Okay, so we were talking about that. Then we were talking about the storytelling style. Okay, and we gave an example of the storytelling style programming language tutorial by that guy, by this eloquent JavaScript guy. Okay, so hold on a second. So, what? Okay, that's my JavaScript tutorial, and I wanted to go to JavaScript book reviewed. So let's copy that. And that also we talked about. That's something significant. I will show you in a minute. And we also we were talking about the eloquent JavaScript. This eloquent JavaScript. Oh God. Let's not. Let's just copy that. Fourth edition, 2024. So he's been updating his tutorial. So that. Okay, so let's link it. So we were talking about, so let's summarize. So I was talking about why I'm proud of my programming language tutorial and the specific reasons for each. Okay, so let's go elaborate. Okay, so I explained Wolfram language tutorial. Okay. Okay, so okay, so hold on a second. So wait. So you need that. Okay, so draw. Okay, I think the questions are piled up. Let me answer the question. Okay. Why didn't I use Svalbard data hand? Well, that's because it's just I got because I got personal problems. You know, the so this is a major project in order to do. So, but I got lots of things I need to kind of. So it's kind of a procrastination issue. Okay, so if you want to know, so that is the reason. So like this being like he gave it to me 2 years. I really like it. I really want to use it, but it's kind of a project, you see, because you can't just hop onto it and start to use it because you need to learn. And you know, and which is very interesting. You know, usually I get started if I just touch it like every day. But if it's a project, which is this is like because I have lots of plans, then it started to get delayed because I got lots of code to do in AI and mathematics. So that is kind of why I have not used it. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. That is the Diego. I think I know you, Diego. I think on is it on Twitter or something a bit. Okay, so I think I rambled all over. So God, I don't know what. So let's see. Let me just finish the questions then. What benefit will Wolfram give me as a hobbyist programmer? Oh, that's the best thing. Wolfram language is the best for hobbyist programmer. So let me just put it shortly. It gives you one programming language. Think of it as the most powerful calculator on earth. Okay, today is a bit more beyond calculators because AI. So it's kind of answers to any question. So you think of it but Wolfram language is not like AI chatbot. So anyway, think of it just like the most powerful like tool a person can have. Like think of all programming languages, Python, all of them combined, and all so easy, made so easy and consistent to use. So that would be Wolfram language. Okay, 30 years ago, that kind of idea is in Lisp programming languages, because Lisp is the programming language is like you just have one thing, okay, one system, one thing that will just do everything, everything possible. Okay, it's just consolidated into one thing. That is Lisp, not Emacs Lisp, but that basically eventually Lisp died, so it became Common Lisp. But Common Lisp is lots of problems, lots of ugly shit. So anyway, so why would Wolfram language benefit you for hobbyists? It's the greatest for hobbyists, because as a hobbyist, you might have, as I assume you are a nerd, so you have interest in physics, in chemistry, in diverse things, in neural networks, in all sort of algorithms, in programming, in graph theory, in mathematics, in differential equations. So you want one thing to do them all, okay, and in the most easy way. So you don't have to spend a lot of time to like Linux, and figure out, ask questions, that would be Wolfram language. Okay, that is why I bought it 30 years ago when I was young. I wanted to be a great mathematician. I just want one tool. I want the best, do everything. Is Emacs script easy to learn for a non-programmer? It's not called Emacs script, okay? It's called Emacs Lisp, because Emacs script, that confuses with the JavaScript, because the official name for JavaScript is ECMAScript. Okay, very confusing. ECMA script, that's the official name for JavaScript, the programming language. And so ECMAScript. So it kind of sounds like the Emacs, sounds like Emacs, Lisp programming language. But Emacs Lisp was never called a script. Well, technically, I guess it's a scripting language using Emacs, but it was never called script. You just say Lisp, okay? So Emacs Lisp, or eLisp in short. So so you are saying, is eLisp easy to learn? I wouldn't. It's not difficult, but if you really want to compare which is easier to learn, let's say compare to like what? To Python and to JavaScript. So among these three, they kind of all the same. Okay, not the same, but the level of learning difficult, how easy or how difficult to learn them. Compare Emacs Lisp and JavaScript and Python, for example, among these three. I think they are in the same level of difficulty. It's just that they are quite different, because when you learn JavaScript, not just the language, then you have to learn the DOM. Okay, when you learn JavaScript, you have to learn JavaScript by itself is very convoluted, variables, strings, then properties, then objects and inheritance. It's very complicated because bad design. But then after you learn JavaScript, you learn a lot of time as you go, years after years. Then the actual coding of JavaScript relies on DOM, which is the browser functions and stuff. That is another chapter. Okay, so learning JavaScript to actually write practical websites is actually, I would say, the most difficult among Emacs Lisp and Python. Okay, now for Python, that depends on what you do. I mean, Python, so if you just write hello world, Python, So Python, that depends on what you do. But if you just write pure tutorials or academic toys, for example, the advent of code, then Python language is not hard, okay, not too hard, easy. But then depends on what you want to do actually with Python. Are you gonna do web dev? Are you writing a server? Are you writing this artificial intelligence? Are you writing a chatbot? Then it becomes then it becomes more complicated because you have to download the right libraries, you got the right environment, then fairly can get very complicated, right? For example, if you want Python to write web dev, you need a framework almost. So then learning a framework is the entire thing, okay? And same thing with JavaScript. Now, Emac Lisp, well, the Emac Lisp, then then the issue is that then, of course, you deal with Emacs, okay? So everything you do is in this text editor environment, okay? So you have to learn new concepts such as cursor, like this is a cursor. How do you delete text? How do you, grab a text between different positions, grab them into, save it as a string in a variable, things like that. So, and you can control the font size, Anyway, so among JavaScript, Python, Emac Lisp, I think the difficulty of learning them is kind of the same, similar. Okay, and also then compared to Java or C or C++, okay? For example, Java and C++, that would be actually somewhat more difficult, I would say, because they are compiled languages and Java is like lots of OOP shit. C++ is a magnitude worse. Okay, because C++ is like just pure shit, like Java. Like JavaScript. Okay. So if you learn C++ or Java, that's a magnitude more difficult than JavaScript, Emac Lisp, or Python. Okay, I'll stop there. I think that answers your question. And of course, by the way, I have an article on that. Search for which programming language is easier to learn. So I have an article on that. I have like thousands of articles. I have like 10,000 articles written in the past 30 years. There it is. Which programming language to learn? Which programming language is easier to learn? So this one is written in 2019. Is it actually up to date? No, I think I have quite a few additions I wanted to make, but I don't have time. So anyway, this article, which programming language is easier to learn, 2019. So I rank them easy: Golang, Ruby, PHP, Scheme Lisp. Okay, that is true. Those are easiest. Harder: Wolfram language, Python, Emac Lisp, PowerShell. Okay, actually PowerShell, well, I would put PowerShell to be more complex. Okay, PowerShell I turned out is fairly complex. Then complex: Java, JavaScript, Clojure, Perl, OCaml, Haskell. Okay. Now when you rank how easy is to learn for programming language, it's not too trivial, because you see my list is kind of simplified. I simply put them into different categories, but in reality it depends on depends on quite a few things. Okay, it depends on quite a few things. For example, in the complex category, OCaml and Haskell, well, there's difference between them. Okay, so anyway, then another part. So anyway, but roughly I would say this. Okay, this is how I would rank them. But then there is also which programming language has best documentation. Okay, that's another article. Then which programming language is more expressive but remain readable? Okay, then here is my rank. Wolfram language, PowerShell, well, so this is also another thing that's difficult. So I'm not sure, so I wrote this like at one time, but now I look at that. Wolfram language is not easy to read, okay? Because when it gets complex, it can be really hard to read. So this is, okay, so, but the question is not just readable, but it's also expressive, you see. If the question is only about readability, like which programming language is more readable, how do you rank them? Then Python ranks at the top. It's the most readable, okay? Python at the top. And I would say, and Java and Python. If you only think about readability, Java, Golang, and Python, they are at the top, okay, these three. No, but you don't want just readability because in the case of Java, all these other languages, you write something in one line, but in Java, you need 10 lines. So is that what you want? So if you have a program that's 10 lines in Ruby, Python, Scheme, Lisp, but in Java, it's 100 lines. Is that what you want? But it's readable. It's more readable, but 100, is that what you want? Not necessarily. So you also want to consider expressiveness. You want to be able to make it short, pack content into a line. Then Wolfram language became all of a sudden became 100 times more than all of these. Yeah, that is true. That is true. So expressiveness, okay, because Wolfram language, you have to watch my tutorial live stream, hundreds of them. It packs, expressiveness and yeah. So, but now the question is, if the question is just which one is the most expressive, then Wolfram language is at the top. Okay, let me tell you. So Wolfram language is at top beyond all the others. So one line Wolfram language, the second most expressive would be one line of Wolfram would be 100 lines of that. Okay, the second one would be okay. Oh shit. Oh god, shit. Okay, so how long have I been talking without showing my screen for a long time? Oh fuck. Wait, what was the question I was answering? Where am I located? USA, of course. I'm in California. Why don't you use a smart board? Okay, I answered that. Oh yeah, I was answering that question. So okay, I think shit. So anyway, we digressed all over. So okay, so this is what I think about programming languages. Okay, so the question is, if you which programming language is expressive, then Wolfram at the top for sure. Then the second would be let's say the most expressive. That would be not Emacs, Lisp, not Java. The Java is the last at the bottom. Okay, the least expressive. Okay. JavaScript, Golang is also not expressive. Golang is like template, is like Java, okay? PHP, not really. Okay, Perl, okay? Perl is on top. Perl, Ruby. Yeah, the most expressive after Wolfram would be Ruby and Perl. Okay, and and maybe Scheme and Closure. Okay, that is if you consider expressiveness. But then the question here is, which one is more expressive but remain readable, you see, then it's become more difficult. Then I guess I gave this order. Okay, Wolfram, PowerShell, Ruby, Scheme. Anyway, this is crazy. I mean, okay. So that's the answer about is Emacs script easy to learn? Okay, to a non-programmer. Okay, so then you are talking about a non-programmer. In that case, are you still here? For non-programmer, there is a book for Emacs list for non-programmers. Okay, it's called Control HI. So in Emacs, you can it's this one. Okay, an introduction to programming in Emacs Lisp. Okay, it's written by this guy who died about 6 years ago. What's this guy? It's very annoying that the GNU fuckheads, the Richard Stallman, they don't put author's name here. It's like everything is just like GNU, meaning like it's like everything is automatically credited to Richard Stallman. Fuck the guy. You know, you should put the author name here, okay? Like, you know, the guy, you know, he passed away, okay? So, and, okay, so I can show you book. Okay, so with died, search for died, programmer, Lisp programmer Daniel Weinreb died, author of Intro to Emacs Lisp. Robert J. Chassell died. He died in year 2017, okay? 2017, about 10 years ago. So there is this book. This is a book for introduction to Emacs Lisp, but it's for people who have never programmed before. Never. Like you don't know what's a variable, you don't know what's a function. Then you can read this book, okay? I write a little about Python. Oh, still here. Fantastic. So, okay, so if you write a little about Python, then I do not recommend this book. If you are interested in Emacs Lisp, I would recommend just my book, okay? Yeah, actually. So if you know some Python, then just read my Emacs Lisp basics. That's what I say. Or you can try to read this book, which comes with Emacs in every Emacs. Just start Emacs, press Control I, okay? Wait, close that. Control I, then you go down. There's a Emacs Lisp intro. This one, an introduction to programming in Emacs Lisp. This is written by this guy, Bob Chassell, Robert Chassell. Okay, he passed away. It's the same book, but it's bundled in every Emacs. Okay, but this book is for non-programmers, people who never programmed before. So what you'll find is that very tedious and verbose. Like when I was learning Emacs Lisp about 15 years ago, I tried to read this. Like you have to scroll like 100. Like after 50 pages, maybe I learned something. You know, like how do you create a variable in Emacs? Then you go 50 pages. It talk about things you already know. What's a function? What is a variable? Then you learn maybe one thing. So I stopped. I actually didn't read this book. You know, it's like too verbose, like idiotic. But it's designed for people who never programmed before. And every time you hear, people ask what book to learn Emacs Lisp, you will hear this mentioned, right? But I never heard anyone who actually read this book and say it's good. I don't think I ever heard of that. Okay, so that's but the book is, it's written in, English is good, but, organization, but I think I find it too verbose, okay? That's why. So, Okay. So probably that's it for today. So let me just clean up what we talked about. So we talked about that. Go back to my talk show. So topic is about we document what we talk about. Okay. So this link is EMAG this difficult to learn. Okay. That's one question. And we also talked about which programming languages is easy to learn. Okay, that's also what we talked about. Okay, we talked about that because EMAG these basics. That's my tutorial copy. Do we have it? Okay, so that's my that close. And what is this? That's today's talk show. Wait, is that? Yes. Wolfram language tutorial. Do we have it? So we were talking about, we haven't checked the JavaScript. Well, we did JavaScript code. Okay, WebGL. Yeah. So that is about, will AI write JavaScript clock using SVG or Canvas? Interesting question. It turns out it used none. It used neither. Okay, that was the question we asked. Will AI write JavaScript clock using SVG or Canvas? Interesting question. It turns out it uses neither. Okay, so that comes before that. Okay, then we talked about that well actually. So okay, so okay, we started talking about JavaScript. What is this? Okay, so merge the section. Okay, remove the date. Remove the to do. Okay, so we talked about SVG clock, then Guac, then we the Guac code result. Why? So I started to talk about why I'm proud of some of my programming language tutorial. So Wolfram language, JavaScript. So we mentioned Emac this Wolfram language, JavaScript. Okay, we talked about those three. Okay, so let me just this live stream, what I wanted to say is that I'm not sure what to do in live stream anymore. That's why I started to talk about how AI made programming language tutorials obsolete. Because today, anything you want to know, learning, anything about learning or something, you just ask AI, okay? So what is the purpose of live, programming tutorial Wolfram language? Like, you don't need me to show you, I spent hours to, code this. You can ask AI. So is it the human touch you need? Well, maybe it's just that, just like, so you can watch another human talk about things. So there's a question about what's your opinion on California OS age verification law? What is the OS age verification law? What does OS stand for? So with AI, I detect this significant change in society. Not just me, but since like 2 years ago, since a year ago at least, it seems like Twitter traffic went down because today, you don't need humans to teach you. You don't need, all the like question and Stack Overflow is all gone. It's all kind of dead or Quora because you can just ask AI and AI will give you the answer will be 10 times more correct than a human being, right? So you don't need any tutorials. So what are we doing? What are we here, live stream or whatever? What are we here for? It seems just for the sake of like in a bar chatting to a human, like for entertainment. California Digital Age Assurance Act. What the fuck? I think it's shit. Okay, already signed by Governor Gavin. That is the biggest criminal in USA, Gavin Newsom. Okay, so one of the most corrupt fuck in USA. But there's something interesting I learned in the past years about politics. You see, because this, Gavin Newsom, he belongs to a group, what we normally say the Democrats, okay? Like in USA, you have the Democrat versus Republican, or the left versus right. It's heated fight. So, but what I learned in past 2 years, those are just like fake, a bit more complex, okay? But hold on a second. Let me finish this. Okay, so this Digital Age Assurance Act, started by Gavin Newsom, signed by Gavin Newsom, signed, requires all operating systems, including Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, Linux, and Steam, to collect age information during account setup. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. What a fucking extreme scum. What? And this is also only in California. This cannot happen in USA, right? And this is also only in California. How is that possible or legal? So does that mean, before I install OS, I just move to, I go outside of California, then install it, then come back here or something? And also, these operating systems requiring an account to install is the most nasty thing. Starting with the late millennial Zoomer fuckheads. Like they are really fuckheads. They don't know nothing. They kind of allowed. Well, they begin with the late millennial. Okay, late millennial. That's basically the social justice warriors gang, that generation. So in year 2016, they are around age 20. These people created the situation where when you install operating system, you started to need an account. You shouldn't need an account to even install operating system, not even to answer like, how old are you? Like first of all, you don't need an account to do it. But this late millennial begin with the social justice warriors. Fucking idiots. Some of them are idiots. Most of them are idiots, but some of them are just extreme criminals, like the Mark Zuckerberg. He kind of began it all. And Jack Dorsey, the guy who created Twitter, okay, they kind of set the whole thing up. Extreme scums. They started to have like app stores. Like every software must be centralized from App Store. Right? If I talk this, I don't know how you guys feel. You guys feel like I'm strange, right? It's like there's no App Store before. Before, let's say 2010, you don't go to like centralized place to download software. Software you should be able to download anywhere. But then they started to have App Store, begin with Apple, of course, Apple. Then like everything is on App Store. Like it became impossible for you to install a software from other place. became a norm. So App Store became a thing. So you got App Store for Apples, for different operating system. Then Microsoft have one. Then the Linux fuckheads also have one. You know, so this incredible downfall of the state. So age, so they require age. So that's key requirement. Self-reported age. No photo ID or official recognition is required. What the fucking idiocy! So first of all, this law is no good. Then no photo ID required. Then what? Then what is good for? What is it good for? The operating system must categorize users into one of the 4 age groups: under 13, 13 to 15, 16 to 17, or 18 plus. This extremely collapse. Enforcement and penalties: 2,500 per affected child. This is the collapse of USA. Okay, that's what this is: collapse of USA. First of all, it's not effective. It's like, if you're gonna require age verification, then you need photo ID and face recognition. But then it says no, it's self-reported age. It do not require photo ID. Then what? Then this law is like useless. So it's not effective. First of all, it's just a show. But then, you got this 2,500 penalty. This is like a collapse. This is a indication of the collapse of USA. Okay, that's what I think. Okay, so let me go back to talking about the Democrat versus the Republican. It's a thing, right? The social justice warriors back in 10 years ago, they started these all things. Are you in Brazil? Okay, so they started these social justice warriors. For example, the Black Lives Matters, or in USA you have feminism, then trans, gays and trans and stuff. Sex is a construct. Then you have to say a pronoun. That I'm called the something. My name is Dragon. You must respect me. Call me a dragon. Things like that. So this collapse of USA. Then so I thought, so these are lefties, right? Sometimes the right wing people call them communist. There's a hatred of communism. So there's a big fight. But then the war, the certain mass killing happened in Middle East, okay, in the past 2 years. Then the thing started to change. You started to know lots of things. I don't know nothing about it 2 years ago. But then I started to read every day, news, Twitter. Then you realize there is something, the left and right. That's not a thing. Okay. Okay. So I'd rather not. I don't want to go into the detail, but this war between left and right. What I want to say is that it's hard to say. It's hard to make sense. Okay. It's hard to make sense. But one thing sure is that, you don't want to just blame left. That's wrong. That's a deep state trap. Okay. That's not what actually happens. It's fairly complicated. Okay. I think I rambled all over, but let me go back to summarize, create an index page of what we talked about. And that's it for today. Thank you for mentioning that OSH thing. 3G canvas. So we talked about shit. So I'm not very happy with today's live stream because I'm rambling all over, no goal, and basically useless. It's just random. It's basically random chat. There's a lot of things I talked about today. It'll be much useful if it's organized into several videos. Anyway, in general, in general, like I do not feel good lately in the past month. Partly is because all the war, like today there's another war going on. That's the biggest, very depressing. So that's one thing, but so I'm not too happy. Okay, in the past month, I haven't been too happy. So anyway, let's get back to this. So actually now I forgot what I was talking about before. So I talked about why I'm proud of JavaScript. Okay, so I talk about Emacs, Wolfram, and JavaScript. Okay, so I talked about why am I proud of my JavaScript tutorial. Okay, then I talked about why I'm proud of my Wolfram language tutorial. JavaScript tutorial is because basically most in-depth of all my programming language tutorials. Okay, that is why. Now, why am I proud of my Wolfram language? Because Wolfram language tutorial is rare and mine is rather unique, rather the only one focused for industrial programmers. Okay, that's a reason, specific reason why I think my Wolfram language tutorial is great. The only one focused for industrial programmers is Wolfram. Well, anyway, so I talked about that. So let me go back to, let me show you. So elementary. So one of the book is Elementary Introduction by Stanford Wolfram, which I mentioned. Let's go. So actually, I have a review. So I wrote a review. So then I also talked about a review element of Stephen Wolfram's book. Okay. Then I also talked about, so close that. Then I also talked about, so close that. Then I also talked about, yeah, so here, which is the fast introduction, Wolfram language, fast intro. So I talk about this. So this is similar to my book, okay? Like Wolfram language for programmers, for industrial programmers. For example, you came from Python, Java, or C++, or, So, and what I'm saying is that this is not in depth, okay? So what I'm saying is that, so copy that. So let me do this, okay? Right now I'm like, what? I'm like writing a index of the things I talked about today. Any more questions? Okay. By Wolfram research. Okay, so that is the this is close to mine, but I think mine is better because this is close to my tutorial, but I think it is not in depth. Okay, that is the reason. That so let me summarize. Again, repetition. So who else are here still? Do I make sense? So again, so the repetition. So let's see. So we talked about, okay, so programming languages, practical SVG. So the beginning, the reason we were talking about this programming language tutorial is because we haven't wrote that. That's the beginning. That's the origin of all this talk about programming language tutorial. How AI is making, today's AI is making programming language tutorials obsolete. Okay, that's how we began to talk about tutorials. Okay, then I start to talk about what the difference between programming language tutorial written by AI versus human. That is the essence. That's an essential question. Okay. And eventually, after like 40 minutes, we discovered interactively, dynamically, we discovered that after some 30 minutes talking and exploration, I discovered actually there is no essential difference. Okay, and I think great, not theory, insight. Okay, there's no difference. And then we talked about like AI generated. Then we talked about AI generated. That almost like porn. I mean, we were talking about AI generated videos. Okay, so we were talking about that. Then we were talking about, okay, huge digression into my tutorials, SVG and WebGL, Canvas versus SVG and Canvas tutorial, then AI generated code, then why am I proud of my JavaScript tutorial or Wolfram language tutorial, and then a review of, okay, then my review of Stephen Wolfram's book, this one. Let's put here, and this is a book title. Okay, so that's a book title. Okay, well, okay, so review of that. So I did a review of Stephen Wolfram's book, okay. Then I did a review of the Fast Introduction for Programmers tutorial by Wolfram, okay. Then I talked about JavaScript, other JavaScript books. Okay, so we talked about the storytelling style of books, okay. So that is even before Wolfram. So well, so wait. Okay, so hold on a second. So okay, JavaScript tutorial. So that okay, so do you guys see what I'm doing? I guess not, but it will become clear pretty soon. JavaScript book review and which programming language is easy to learn. So we did this. Yeah, we were talking about that's JavaScript. What? Shit, did we? Okay, so let's. AI generated videos, yes. So that is the URL. So you need to give it a URL. So that's a thing, okay. Then we're talking about tutorials. So will AI write JavaScript clock? So that's a different topic. JavaScript clock. Okay, that's very interesting. So let's put that there. So that's the SVG clock. So we were talking about SVG, then we started to talk about this clock. So let me show you guys what's up there. So you see, today's AI is making programming language tutorial obsolete. That's the beginning kind of talk. What's the difference between programming language tutorial written by AI versus human? We spent like 30 minutes on that. After some 30 minutes talking and exploration, I discovered actually there is no essential difference. And I think this is a great insight. So there is some no essential difference, and I think there's a spelling error. There is no essential difference. Okay, double is. Okay, refresh, say done, fixed. Discussing about AI generated videos. Okay, so that video is like AI is almost doing porn. And that's related because we want to see the spirit. I mean, can the AI generated stuff have a soul? the answer is yes, because soul is actually not well defined. We always think, there's a difference because this one got a soul, but actually no. Because if you have a blind test of two things, you without knowing, which one is human, you cannot tell which one is got the soul. Okay, like then we talk about SVG and AI. So AI generated clock. Where is it? Where is the AI generated clock? We did this today. Where is the clock? Where's the code? Oh shit! Did I override it? Fuck. Clock. There. Okay, so it's here. Yeah. So this AI generated clock, let's put it here. Amazing. Yeah, so there it is. So that AI generated clock, we haven't got to fix it. Oh, there's interesting thing. We want to see how it creates this this thing. Yeah, so that we haven't looked yet, but very interesting is that it so it's amazing. It just uses CSS. It doesn't use SVG at all. Oh shit! How advanced! Incredible. So this is even better than mine because my SVG clock actually uses SVG. I mean, yeah. But, I actually use SVG. So if you do not use SVG, it's actually simpler. But SVG is kind of the proper way because SVG is designed for graphics, especially these line graphics, line and circles. Okay. Well, you can use CSS for simple if your clock is simple. But let's say if you wanted to, let's say if you want a clock with kind of transparent casing showing the internal delicate gears of a watch. In that case, CSS would not be appropriate, would be too complicated, would it? Anyway, so it's very interesting that AI just uses CSS. And we haven't figured out how it makes the second hand shake. So that's something we can try to find. So set interval update clock every 1 second, or was it 1 millisecond? I mean, so here's a code. So second hand update. So update. So you want to look at this function, okay? Update clock. So this function is very short, fucking extremely short. 30 lines of code, Jesus. And amazing, it's using Unicode. Can you see that? You see this Unicode degree symbol. That's a Unicode degree sign. Okay, that character. So AI is generating, Unicode degree symbol there. So 6 degree per second. What is saying? 6 degree per second. Okay, so it actually creates comments. Okay, but update clock. So now new date, then second, now second, minutes, hours. Okay, then every time you get a new date, then you have seconds, minutes, and hours. So second degree is how many seconds? Oh, wow, so simple a logic. Second degree equals 2 seconds times 6. 1 second is 60 degrees. I see. Is that right? Yes, that's right. 60. That's right. Because 6 times 60 is 360. 1 second. So 360 is the all the degrees in a circle. So that is why, right. 1 second is 6 degrees. So it's simply times 6. Okay, and minute is equals to minute degrees is equals to 6 degree per minute plus 0.1 degree per second. Okay, the mini hand, then the hour hand. Wow, so it goes by degrees. Then you just, okay, so you just rotate, you do the style transform. Okay, but what is the, okay, so the elements are these, okay, the second hand, you see, these are the elements. Document query selector, that selects elements. So now you need to look at, wow, amazing. So this is truly, this is good. Okay, syntax color it, show. No, okay, it doesn't syntax color, nothing, close it, but okay, so where's the numbers come from? So you want to look at the, so the code here does not include the numbers, okay? But the numbers must be in the CSS. So here is a CSS, okay? CSS is only 100 lines, okay? Now let's syntax format it, pretty format it. And so here is body, is clock. So we want to look at the numbers, okay? Hand, hour hand, mini hand, second hand, center dot. Now what is the center dot? Okay, numbers. Okay, so here is numbers, position. Oh, wait, so wait, font size. Okay, so why is it position absolute? Okay. Numbers optional but nice. Okay, so wow, amazing. Position absolute, number span. What is this? Now what are the put it back, search for number. Wait, what is the number? So those are the number styles. So these class are numbers. Okay, but so these numbers are You see, if you remove it, refresh, it's gone, right? So you put it back. So the numbers, let's see. The numbers, each one is just a number, okay? Then you say transform, rotate, translate, okay? You translate and rotate. You translate and rotate. Amazing, amazing. The AI really. So the number span, there is no span in it. Oh, there is number, then span, type number span. Okay. Then so number, then anything children span, position absolute, width and height. Do you fix this though? Okay, so you need to find where is this clock. Clock center dot, then okay, so maybe put a number outside. No. X and Y. Numbers clock. So you got numbers class here, then you got class hand, our hand. Amazing, truly amazing. Okay, so I was trying to fix this, but yeah, okay, I need a break actually. So we were coding this, but we didn't do any of that. We will just digress about AI. So the nasty question. AI is here. What we gonna do? Oh God. Okay, but right now you need to fix this. So what is this? So okay. So right now, okay, here's the thing. Let's focus on fixing this. Okay, let's see if we can do that. I'm pretty sure, but okay, hold on a second. I need a break. So be back 5 minutes. Okay, I think let's have a drink then. Let's have a shot of this guotou. Okay, that's Chinese vodka, kind of. So this is what live stream is for entertainment. The chocolate. A friend gave us chocolate. Okay, I think my wife is back pretty soon. Okay, so we're gonna fix this. Okay, fix this JavaScript. Chocolate. Okay. So first of all, our hand. So first of all, well, you see, here's a code. Showing browser. That's code. Code pretty short. The whole thing is 150 lines. Okay. The JavaScript is here. It's only 30 lines. Okay. Put it back. Then the CSS, then HTML is only 20 lines. Okay. Basically, this whole thing. That's so simple. You just got a card. Okay. Then you got, let's highlight it. You just got a card. Then you got center dot. Then you got numbers, type class. Then you got our hand, meaning hand, second hand. Okay. Now let's look at the. So let's see. So this whole HTML, you see, if you delete it, refresh it, this organ, just this HTML, simple. Now this center dot, you see, search for center. Wait, do we have center dot? Doesn't even have a style. What? Wait. It does. Okay, so center dot is refresh. Center dot is that. So center dot and the center dot and the hands. Let's look at the hand. Okay, let's look at hand position absolute. Absolute means make it a own layer. Okay, so let's fix this. Let's just fix it. Okay, so you go to my CSS tutorial. If you have something, say hi. Okay, you go to my CSS tutorial and position absolute, so that's about layout. So layout and layers, okay, layout and layers, position attribute, I mean, or property. Click on that. So position, you got static, relative, fixed, absolute. Absolute means new layer, okay, relative to its containing block, okay. Okay, absolute is the most complex one. Shit. Okay, go back here. Close that. Close that. Okay, hand position absolute goes into its own layer. Bottom left and 50, 50, okay. So it goes into its own layer, and the own layer is what is the parent? Because this bottom and left percentage, they are relative to the parent of this thing, okay. So if you search hand, our hand, mini hand, second hand, okay, so the parent of this thing is clock, okay. So their position are relative to this clock's position. Okay, so let's search clock. So do we have clock? Yes, we do. So the clock's position is this. Width 320, width, height, background, border, radius, we don't care, we don't care, we don't care. Position relative, oh, okay. Jesus. You know, so this is like, what the fuck? Okay. Put it back, make a backup. Okay, so we start to change this clock. Let's say, well, put it back. Yeah, so you see, that's why that we kind of already fixed it. What? Okay, so we, yeah, so that is a problem, width and height. Okay, so put it back. So refresh. Okay, width and height. Let's get the border. Okay, so border. What's border radius 50%? Wow, so that actually that does it. So, but anyway, so let's do this. Okay, let's replace the clock by X clock. Okay, so that way we don't confuse with other things. You see. So it's more unique. Okay, sure. Okay, same problem. Now, okay, actually, so why don't we just focus on getting this fixed instead of playing around? So, okay, so width and height, if you delete it, okay, wait, that's the clock. Okay, clock, width and height. Wait, why is that? Now, what color is this? Let's just say red. Okay. Okay, so this is the border radius, make it round, and box shadow, we don't care. Okay, so but this width and height and clock's got width and height, and hand is correct, but the thing that's incorrect is a number. Okay, it's a numbers, optional, and nice, delete that. Okay, numbers. Okay, Optional, delete that. So let's rename numbers to X numbers because that way it's more unique. Wait, yeah. So 3 occurrence, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now this one is part of the HTML. So number is a div, and it's got a bunch of numbers. So let's say TGT. Okay, let's just for experiment. So there it is. So you can see this TTT. Let's say ABC. That's kind of the center. Okay, so now you can see the whole numbers got moved to the right. I started to see the problem. Mm. Hmm. But why is the ABC but why is it above? They shouldn't be above, right? So because when you have, let's say, okay, but anyway, this number span, okay, that's another position absolute. Let's just say number, okay, position absolute. Now, what does absolute mean? Absolute means relative to its containing block, okay? So number position absolute relative to the containing block, okay? And you forgot to say left and right. That's why you are incorrect. That's right. You forgot to say bottom or left. You see, because whenever you say position absolute, you have to say top, bottom, or left, right for alignment. Right? Yes. Right? Yes. Right? Because when you say position absolute, which is this one, so absolute, let's look into the detail. What? So position absolute, you need to say二锅头, 干杯, no 干杯, but cheers. Okay, so back to position. Position, you want it to be absolute means relative to the parent block and in its own layer. Okay, so position is quite tricky and powerful, but it's I don't think it's well designed. Very complex. It's the most CSS position property is the most complex part of CSS. Cascading style sheet. Okay, let me tell you guys, it's the most complex part. More complex than the flow, than the grid, than the which I don't have. It's a new thing. I don't have a tutorial yet. Actually, it's been around like 5-10 years. Anyway, position is the most complex thing in cascading style sheet. And well, it's powerful, okay, but it's not good, well designed, okay. So position possible values is you got static, relative, fixed, absolute, and absolute is actually the most useful because it it puts the elements in a new layer, independent of what comes before or after, okay. So it becomes a new layer, but it is positioned with respect to its parent element. Okay, so it's, you see, in a new layer, but not with respect to the window. Like, for example, when you have position fixed, then it's in a new layer, like this menu. You see, doesn't matter where you scroll, that menu stick to a fixed position with respect to the window or viewport. Okay, so doesn't matter what size is your window. You see that thing is always on the top right corner because I have position fixed and right 0, top 0. So it stick to right hand side and top. But when you have position absolute, it goes into its own layer, but it's relative to the parents. Okay, so here is position absolute for the number and relative to the parent. But however, you don't have the left and right, top, bottom thing. So let's go to absolute. So you need to say, you see, you need to say this left, right, or top, bottom. Okay, so it's missing. So when you are missing, let's add it. Okay, so actually, okay, so let's say top 0, left 0. Okay, put it back, showing browser. Okay, so number top 0, is it 0 should work, px. Okay, refresh. Position top, let's say right. Does not change a thing. Height, text align, color, font size, but it's respect to the parent. So what is the parent? The parent is X clock. So does X clock has a so what is X clock? X is that dive. Okay, so X clock got width, height 320. Why 320? Like what? Why is this strange? I mean, that's, can you say 500? I mean, can you talk? Okay. There. Okay. Well, then you need to change hand size, the clock hand size. Okay. There it is. Width and height. Okay. What a hack, then clock hand is, width, height. Okay. So, but for all the talk, you did not fix this. Jesus. Okay, so let's quickly. So if our goal is just to fix that, can we actually quickly? Yes, I think so. We want to go to the number part. Let's say right and left. Okay, this should be top, right? Top. So top 50 pixel. That works. Let's say 100 pixel, 200 pixel. Let's say percent, 50% or something. Okay, showing. Oh, that's almost close. Okay, so 50%, 49, 47, 46%. Okay. Okay, 42%, kind of right. And what about change the left? The left is gonna be 50%. Let's say 50%. Wait, percent. Okay. Okay, that's 20%. Okay, 0%. Okay, then it's right. Okay, right. 10%. Okay, close. 12%. Okay, it's very close. Now let's remove the XYZ. Remove that, the things that we added. Okay, close. But anyway, right now I'm in a kind of zombie state because I don't enjoy. This is like wasting time. This number, okay, so you need to like, because right now this is just hacking. So 12%, that's too much. Right, 10% actually. Actually, it's kind of works, okay? And one more thing. You see the numbers? You see they use SVG, you know, they can use they use CSS transform to rotate the numbers. You see, but you don't want the numbers rotated. You want the position of the numbers rotated. The numbers themselves, you don't want them to twist their orientation. Cheers. So, you know, we can fix it. So, but how can you have numbers such that you change their position, but you do not change their orientation? How do you do that in CSS? Easy. Just use position absolute. What? Just use position absolute, you know, like we were doing. So you remove this rotate and translate. Yeah, actually you don't need rotate, you just need translate. Can we do that? Actually, it should be easy. And no, wait. What? Now, what is the order? Oh God, this fucking stupid. Okay, this AI code is not too good. You should be able to remove the rotate. Then in the translate, you need to put the number there. So what you do is, yeah, so this number will be sine cosine, okay? So these two numbers, so each one you want to translate, and those numbers will come from sine cosine. And can you actually have sine cosine from CSS? I think you can, you know, let's ask AI. Cosine, let's say sine cosine in CSS translate. You know, let's just ask that. Brave browser. I recommend Brave browser and Brave search. Okay. Yes, you can use sine and cosine function directly within CSS translate. Oh. Cheers. Okay, I'm starting to get drunk. Okay, so yeah, but okay, so you have to use calculate. Oh, Jesus. CSS is really getting complex. You have to use calculate and okay, that's another good question. Save, close. Okay, so we also talked about lots of things, but we did not actually even finish writing a index of the things we talked about. Okay, but here is the AI answer. Not what we want. Okay. Excuse me. So save it. So he's talking about you see, he's talking about okay, so he's talking about, let's see, let's go to CSS, search for CALC calc. So in CSS, you got this calc, which is a function in CSS, which is rare. Okay, so you can use that to compute, but what is, so you have arithmetics, but you can also have sine, cosine, which I did not mention. So my tutorial is getting outdated. Yeah, it's annoying. And also, I've been thinking about this because if you are a writer for programming language tutorials, you have to update it every few years, right? But it seems like it never ends. Okay, so if you have a tutorial for a programming language, it looks like the update, the changes to the programming language almost never ends. And the interesting thing is that it's not necessarily so. In other words, people are adding things because of power struggle due to politics, not because the programming language truly needs to change or have additions. Okay, very interesting question, because if you are a programmer or a programming language tutorial writer, you thought you learned the programming language, you mastered it because, let's say, you coded for 5 years or 10, C, C++, Java, JavaScript, or even Python. But after 5 years, you noticed, they made some change. I mean, they made some maybe somewhat significant change. And typically, and of course, you accepted it, obviously, because as life goes on, things change. I mean, computers improve, and so you have some bug fixes and so on. It's very common in operating systems and so on. But then you realize when you are 20 years old, then you are 25 years old, then you are 30 years old, then you are 35 years old, then you are 40 years old, then you are 45 years old. Like, your life passed, and then you are 50 years old, like me, 50 something. Okay, so your life is almost gone. But you started to see all these changes, but you started to see they're still making changes. Like, to you thought you've been there, right? You've been there for 30 years, 40 years. Like, the first change, obviously, is necessary. But then some change. So again, then you start to see, wait, why are you changing them? You started to have that question, which is what I do, because I wrote so many programming language tutorials. Like CSS, for example, you thought it's done for. You thought it's like, what possibly things do you want in CSS? Okay, you got grid, but they still change. They have new units. Like for example, a few months ago, we talked about the new units, R cap, R cap, IC, right? Wait, we got this one should be RIC. Okay, so do you actually know what is a unit? IC, it's becoming like incomprehensible. Okay, that is the problem. See, okay, so this should be RIC. Okay, you see here, RIC, height of Chinese character for water. Okay, for the root element. So you notice that they actually do change, and then you start to think about, are they gonna ever stop changing CSS and or HTML? Like HTML, you thought it's kind of done, right? Yeah, I mean, what else you want to add? But they do actually make a change. And then I thought about this. I started to really think, when does a technology let's narrow it down. Okay, let's be precise. When does a programming language or markup language like HTML, or for example Java, Golang, Python, for example, like when should they, or do they, should the change be forever? Several questions regarding change. Like, should a programming language have changes every year forever? Is this like forever thing? Forever and ever until you die, your son, your son's son, grandson, your grandson, they will still change. Is that true? That's one thing you think about. Okay. So it turns out, so I started to think about this. It actually kind of yes. Well, yes and no. Like usually the answer should be no, like because you don't want unnecessary change. You want for example, for a programming language, let's say Python, you want the change only when it is important, a new feature, new phenomenon in computers, in computer hardware, in programming science, in programming language design, in the science of programming language design. You started to think, oh, actually, if we have that, it would be much better, a new feature for the programming language, right? You thought about that. But that doesn't happen often. So but how do you know? Because after 10 years, after 20 years, nobody can predict the future. What you thought of, what happens in 20 years, you may never thought of. It's like predicting the future, like what will happen in 20 years. Like nobody actually knows about the AI, will AI, what will happen to AI? We don't know. Like right now, you just hear lots of people babbling, But I mean, the question is like, will programming language change forever? And is that right? Should it change forever? And that related question is, when will programming language die? Like, it does happen in real life as far as we know in history, because many programming language died. New language came by, Python, Perl, one time is the most popular language, the top 3 for 10 years, over 10 years. But Perl basically died, like basically dead, gone for. Same thing for Lisp. Okay, same thing for Lisp, not Emac Lisp, but Common Lisp, and basically Lisp language. Okay, so you started to see some programming language will die. And for example, Golang is pretty new, only 10 years old, 15 years old. Okay, so the question is like, will it forever change? And then you started to realize it's kind of yes and no. Okay, so yes in some way, but because why? because technology will forever improve. It's almost like forever. Like the question is, will technology ever stop evolving? The answer to that is more obviously no. Like in 10 years, we'll have technology. We'll probably have technology we never dreamed of. Okay, in 10 years or 20 years. But then you kind of realized that's kind of true for programming languages, because for now you can never thought of what will happen. What is it like in 20 years? But we do know for sure, almost for certain, in 20 years the technology will be quite different. There's new things we cannot even fathom. So if that's true, then obviously it will have some effect to programming languages, right? So will programming language change forever? The answer is probably yes. Okay. So forget about you learning a language, you master it for 10 years. No, it's going to change if you don't update. So if you wrote a book on a programming language or tutorial, it's going to get outdated. Okay, so it's gonna get outdated in 5 years. In 5 years for sure, if you don't update it. So then the other thing is, but when you look at the question, you also realized many of the changes are not necessary. Okay, which is the case for CSS. Okay, like you look at the changes, right? There's the standard update. You can read about them. You look at the changes, then you realize some of the changes are not really necessary. Like, what the fuck they doing? Then you realize that some of the changes are result of power struggle. Like this standard organization or versus Google commercial organization or versus Apple, they have some fight. They have personal, they have their own interest because they want to make more money, right? And Google, especially Google, because Google, like almost all the technology for the web, the JavaScript, HTML, CSS, have major impact by Google's behavior and choices, major, because that's how Google makes money. So Google actually spend major money, millions, tens of millions of dollars and effort to change CSS, JavaScript, and HTML in browser, and especially the DOM, the browser standard, the DOM and Boom, the document object model and browser object model. Okay, it's a heavy impact by Google. So when you look at the question, most programming language or protocol, they change every year forever, then you kind of realize, yes, because technology changes forever. Therefore, programming language must also evolve forever. And plus, they will die and new ones will born when old ones becomes too difficult to change. You realize that. That's one thing. But you also realize that some of the changes are not necessary. They are result of power struggle by these organizations. Okay. And I think I felt that happens to CSS. Okay. To some degree, okay, maybe not everything, but anyway, I think I'm somewhat one shot of the Goto. So let me answer the question. Beat Town Billy says, my boss said he might force us all to use GitHub Copilot in VS Code. How do I pull off creating a shadow coding environment with Emacs and agentic AI? I don't know. I guess you just, that's an interesting comment. So yeah, that's a that's an interesting situation with the AI co-pilot. AI writing code. What will happen to that? How effective is that? And what kind of impact it has? It has tremendous impact already, but we don't know for sure. You see, there's lots of questions we don't know. You know, and there's lots of bad and fake information they are spreading. Like some will say, "Oh yeah, AI is replacing all coders." It's not true. And actually, we don't know. Lots of these things actually nobody actually knows. So Copilot and VS Code, of course, VS Code is the most popular text editor for programmers, and Copilot is part of it. It's becoming, sorry about that. Microsoft is promoting Copilot very much. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know how. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I know what's going on, but I cannot. It's like nobody knows how to predict what will happen. Nobody knows. Okay. As far as Emacs, so I'm a fan of Emacs, of course, because I've used it so much for 20 years, since 1987. So it's almost like 85, almost 30 years. So I've been using Emacs for almost 30 years. I looked at VS Code. So, but one major issue with VS Code is because it's a commercial entity, it's a giant commercial organization. Therefore, it's gonna bloat forever. It's like absolutely gonna bloat. I mean, inefficient code for sure. For example, we start VS Code, just one file, nothing else. We just open one file, actually two files, because of the automatic release notes file. Okay, we only open two files, nothing else, and I don't have special extension installed. I don't have like, oh god, downloading update. You see, it's still downloading update. I don't have any extra packages installed. But opening one file, it's taking 700 megabytes of memory. Okay, now it reduced to 500 megabytes. Many processes. When you began, it's 700. Now it's like 460. But if you look at Emacs, which I have, where's Emacs? Let's see. Wolfram language is only 80 megabyte. So where is Emacs there? Only 41 megabyte, you see. So how many files I have? Not many, 3, okay? 40 megabyte, 40 versus 400. So VS Code is taking 10 times more memory just to start. 470, 10 times more memory. I've been, this Emacs instance being around for over an hour, right? But VS Code is like 10 times more memory. So beside anything else, simply the fact that VS Code is a creature of a big giant corporation, billion dollars corporation, Microsoft. It guarantees for sure, there's no way to escape it. It guarantees the VS code is gonna be bloated, okay? Because they it's written by programmers for hire, right? You go there, it's your job. You get a lot of money. You go there, you just code. You don't really love the code that much. You just code whatever, so that it passes. It passes your testing suit or whatever. Your boss will look at your code, for your salary, review or whatever. That's all you care. So the code is not really loved, and therefore you got bloat. Well, for hackers things like Emacs, usually that's not the case, because for example, as you know, if you don't know already, my code is like my Xah fly keys and all my packages is like the most supreme, tightly controlled, ideal code there ever exist. Let me delete my backup files. Okay, so for example, I have press. So I have this custom command to delete Emacs backup files of all subdirectories in the current directory and make a report. You see, it doesn't ask me, are you sure this is a file? It doesn't ask that. You see, it just do it. I think I live streamed this. Did I? A month or two ago. I forgot. Anyway, so now if you refresh, you can see all my backup files are gone. So anyway, these are my own files. So this code, right? So because when you hack, when you write your own software, it became a thing of love. Then it become truly a craft, like artistic craft. You know, that's what Donald Knuth, the eminent computer scientist, is talking about, the art of programming. But with corporations code, that doesn't happen much, because you go to the job, not like nobody cares you wrote it. Your name will be replaced. It's not even in the credit. You know, like for example, Apple. You know, they don't care about you. These huge corporations, right? They just care about money. You know, they just want to make more money, and all you care is like you care only about money only too. You go to work, you do whatever, and you get money. That's what you care. You don't care about, because so that's a VS Code, and it is most popular. Well, why isn't Emacs popular? Because the Emacs idiots, they got lots of other problems. Anyway, open source problems. Okay. So what am I talking about? I think I gotta go. Okay, so I kind of rambled. So did I update the update page? No. So update today's date. Today's date is being updated. That's good. Close that. Showing browser. So did we finish writing the history of what we talked about? No. Okay, so anyway, I'm unsure about these unfocused live streams, because then I talked for like 3 hours. Wow, today I talked for 3 hours, basically just random. And when you look at people like online, you look at other streamers. Like today, so many people stream, even professionals. You look at their stream, like nobody watches them. Few hundred. Even like, for example, Wolfram research videos or professors talking about giving a lecture about math or something. They only have like 100, 200 views, which is the same situation with my stream. So I think that happens. There are so many streamers that happens all over with millions, actually. I think millions of people who doing streams, and like some of them even only 10 views, 20 views. Okay. So let me just do whatever then. The story of telling style tutorial. The storytelling, okay. The storytelling should have a hyphen in between them, because otherwise the meaning is changed, okay? It's about English orthography. So the storytelling style of tutorials, one example is eloquent JavaScript written by Marajin Haverbeck. Marajin Haverbeck, I think that's a Northern European name, is that right? I think Scandinavia, like somewhere. Is that right? Let's ask AI. Okay, let's ask Guok, because okay, Guok. That's JavaScript code we did today. We asked that for paste is what's the origin origin of the name Marajin Haverbeck? I think it's like Northern Europe, Scandinavia. Marajin Haverbeck is a well-known Dutch programmer and author. It directly tells you who it is, not just the origin of the name. Known for eloquent JavaScript and projects like Code Mirror. Okay. Oh, I haven't heard of Code Mirror. I know he wrote some other things. Okay, so his first name is Dutch origin. Oh, okay. Imagine first name. Haverbeck surname is a Flemish Dutch family name. Okay. Typical of the Low Countries, Belgium and the Netherlands. It's likely toponymic, derived from a place name. Toponymic. Okay. Okay, Belgium. And, Belgium Dutch. That's kind of the area between the England and the German. It's very interesting, because I've always been thinking that the white men are the Brit and German. So let's ask some more questions. Is the Dutch people a mix of Germanic and Brit? I don't know if that question makes sense, but let's just ask it. It's the power of AI, okay? No, the Dutch people are not really a mix of Germanic and Brit, meaning Asian Britons, Celtic Britons from the British Isles. The Dutch are predominantly Germanic in their ethnic, right? That's what I thought. Linguistic and genetic origins, which with roots tracing back to Asian Germanic tribes like the Frisians, Saxons, and Franks. That's right, who settled in the Low Countries, modern Netherlands, starting around Iron Age, especially during the migration period. Okay, that makes sense because that's what I thought. Because the Germanic, that they are the Germanic people, which later on moved to the Britain or invaded Britain. So that's why you got the Saxons, Anglo-Saxons. Okay. Anyway, so and also notice the interesting word Low Countries that is actually proper now. That's it means modern Netherlands. Okay. Netherlands literally means like Low Countries, I think. Cheers. Genetically, modern Dutch people cluster very closely with other Northwest Europeans, especially Northern Germans, Frisians, and to a lesser degree, Scandinavians. Okay, DNA studies show strong continuity in the region from prehistoric Germanic migrations, with some pre-Germanic earlier Western European hunter-gatherer and farmer input that was largely overwritten or absorbed. Okay, there's often a minor Celtic or pre-Germanic Celtic influence. Okay, the Asian Britons, pre-Roman and Roman era Celtic inhabitants, okay, are not a significant direct ancestral source of the Dutch. Okay, that answered the question. Okay, I think maybe that's it for today. Let's see. Okay, so oh God. Okay, that's it. I think that's it. I got 18 notifications. Okay. God. Okay, so this question is unsettled. So I got this issue about the live stream, and I don't have the full answer yet. But in today's live stream, actually, I did came out way away with a significant answer. That is, what is there any essential difference between AI generated programming language tutorial versus human? And the answer is no. And same thing applies to other things generated by AI, including videos and images. So that is that's a fruit. Okay, That is an important result of this live stream because I was doing philosophy live and came to some understanding. So then today we talked about like lots of random things, not random, but okay. So we talked about lots of things. Okay, rather I don't want to do that because overall I consider it's somewhat wasted because you don't have any goal, you just rambled. Okay, but then there is the question about, I mean, relatively, because people, human animals, they do all kind of things. There's a question like, what is time wasting? What is not time wasting? You never know. Like if you look at, like women, they go to shopping, they like to do that kind of thing. To guys, it's like wasting time. Meanwhile, guys, they do, some guys, they enjoy bars and, buddies playing card games or whatever games. And that, in a sense, is wasting time. But to some people, they have fun. And to some people, they have essential, needed fun. Because human animals are social animals like dolphins. You need socialization to be healthy, okay? Because without human touch, you kind of wither and die off. So you kind of need to talk to other humans, even for nothing. Like we were talking about wasting time. We were considering what is wasting time, what is not wasting time. I'm thinking about my live stream, and I wasted my time. I shouldn't do that. I felt bad for it. But then you think about what does human animals need? Well, a lot of people they just need to talk to people. Okay. So what is wasting time and what is not wasting time? That kind of became dependent. That's dependent on what is your goal. It's not absolute. So in other words, me doing live stream like this, like right now, mostly monologue, babbling to myself. The question is it wasting time? Not really. Yes and no. Okay. Because even if I do not do live stream, and even when I'm happy, it is often the case that I do this kind of monologue by myself. Because that way I can resolve some philosophical questions. Most people are not philosophers, okay? So most people don't think about these kind of questions, which is common. Some people are scientists, some people are not. Some people are lawyers, some people are businessmen. Some people are carpenters, some people are technicians, some people are whatever. So, but for philosophers, thinking about these kind of questions is essential, for philosophers. And I'm kind of philosopher. Okay. So it is true often that I talk to myself like this, monologue often. To many people, you think I'm crazy, but actually not. So there's a Microsoft update. What the fuck is it? Secure boot allowed key exchange key update. Pending restart. What? Secure boot allowed key exchange. So this is questionable. What does this mean? Secure boot. Because secure boot is one of the kind of critical part of Microsoft. So I want to know what exactly is this. Let's ask AI. Secure boot allowed key exchange key. What does that mean? Secure boot allowed key exchange key update. The secure boot allowed key exchange key KEK update is a legitimate security update for Microsoft for Windows. Yeah, of course. It appears in Windows Update as an optional or quality update, often requiring a reboot to complete installation. What is secure boot and KEK? It's like law. Secure boot is a UEFI firmware feature that ensures only trusted digitally signed software like bootable order can run during startup. Okay. So Microsoft's original KEK. KEK stands for Key Exchange Key. Oh. Is set to expire in June 2026. Oh, okay. Okay, so this is important. Okay. I'm unhappy, okay? I'm unhappy and kind of stuck here with today's talk show. And I wanted originally, of course, to code this Wolfram language Nephroid, but it's been delayed and delayed. Okay, so can I do some code of that tonight? Maybe a little bit, but mostly it'll be tomorrow. And then, okay, then the other thing I'm thinking is there is the time of live stream. So should the live stream timing be changed? Okay. Okay, there are some things to think about, okay? So this live stream is kind of experimental because I've been, by now it's 3 hours and 20 minutes. Very interesting. Okay, we need to do a lot of code. A lot of code needs to be done. Okay, bye guys.